What I'm going to say right now is one of the most important things because it affects the future of the whole planet. And it's in the topic of parenting. If you have kids or are thinking about having kids, you need to listen to this. Firstly, I just want to say I'm not telling you how to parent, but I want you to really consider what I'm going to say here and think about it deeply. The children are the future of this planet. What they see, hear, and believe every day is going to determine their development moving forward into the future. And most of that child's life is spent around the parents for the first 18 years of its life. Whether a boy or a girl child, the influences around that child are going to determine how it grows up. Yes, there are other factors, including genetics, your soul, and a spirit. Many statistics prove that what I'm going to say is real. If you actually genuinely love your kids, then you need to consider these things. Firstly, I want to point out that children do not do what you say. They do as you do, and they do as you believe. They become mini copies of you. I've come from a very big family of 4 children, dozens of cousins, and I have 6 children myself. And I've seen it again and again. Children become mini copies of their parents. Every single belief that you have, every single thing you say, the energy you put out, the encouragement you give them, the words you say to them, the time you spend with them to teach them things matters way more than you think. Imagine in your mind quickly how many people have existed in this world since the beginning. There's probably no way to prove the exact number, but there has been generations upon generations upon generations of parents and children, and those children becoming parents and grandparents. And then they have more kids and it just keeps going on. That's a lot of sex. At the moment, we have 8 billion people on the planet, roughly. That's a lot of people, more than you can comprehend. So the way we are as parents matters a lot, because our children will be then having children one day, and the practices and methods and rules and words that you speak into them will gain momentum in the future. Sometimes as parents, we get tired, we can get lazy, we're underslept, overworked, but let me just say that every day is more important than you think. Your children will go on to meet thousands of people within their life, which will then affect thousands more other people, because most people know roughly 1,000 people across their lifetime, and those 1,000 people know 1,000 people who know 1,000 people. So if your child is above average or has an above average skill that they implement, work ethic, mindset, beliefs, confidence, that perpetuates into the future and also into their friends and family and peers. So firstly, as a parent, we need to audit ourselves and say, hey, what are my beliefs? Are my beliefs going to serve many generations in the future? The first thing I want to talk about is the way we speak to our children. One of my sons, Jimmy, who's 1 year old, goes to a daycare near our house. And I was picking him up one day. Carer lady there was handing him to me to pick him up. And she said, "Goodbye, you're so cheeky, you little cheeky little boy." And I called her out and I said, hey, I don't want you to tell my son that he's cheeky. I believe if you tell a kid that there's something again and again and again, they end up believing that that's just how they are. It's so common for a parent to say, oh, you little cheeky. Oh, my son's just really naughty. Oh, he's really naughty. Oh, he's just like that. He's just shy. Oh, he doesn't listen. Oh, he doesn't listen. Oh, yeah. And you say it in front of them. Guess what? That child is now believing, if they understand what you're saying, which eventually they do and they understand more than you think, that child is now believing that they are cheeky. Oh, I'm just cheeky. That's how I am. Oh, I'm going to knock this over. I'm going to play with that. I'm going to draw on the road. Change the dialogue. What are you telling your kids that you don't want them to become like? Are you telling your kids that they're very clever? Are you telling your kids that, wow, you're really well behaved, but today you're being naughty? Different, slight difference, and the belief inside them will change moving into the future. Even if you start telling your child that they're good at something, they're going to believe it. You're their favorite person in the world. You're the big person that knows everything. You've been here for many, many years, more than them, and you're telling them something, so you must be right. The child knows no better. If you tell the child, oh, he just doesn't listen, then guess what? That child ends up growing up thinking, that's just how I am. I don't listen. I just don't listen. My mum said that I don't listen. So, sorry, what was that you said? I wasn't listening. So I always make sure to tell my children, if they are being cheeky, hey, Jimmy, you're a good boy. Why are you being cheeky today? Reframe. That brings me on to say, as parents, we tend to always tell our children and point out to them what they're doing wrong. But what we need to do is flip it. We need to tell them 10 times more what they're doing right instead of what they're doing wrong. Sometimes as mums and dads, we're triggered to just say, Hey, don't touch that. Why are you doing that? Go in the corner. Don't put the food there. But what we need to do to enforce and develop their little brain to get a positive feedback loop, because if you didn't know, our brains are just chemical machines. When you eat chocolate, dopamine's released. It makes you want it again. Same thing when you exercise. Same thing when you get a hug off someone. I'm not saying it's bad to give punishments, but what I'm saying is we need to reinforce the positive things 10 times more than the negative things. So if your child has some rubbish and puts it in the rubbish bin, and that's something you want them to do again, make sure you let them know. Wow, Jimmy, you're so clever. You put that in the bin again? Very good. And he'll be like, yeah, I'm so clever. I put that in the bin. You're developing that kid every single day. You are teaching them. Their brain is developing. So think about the way you're talking to your children. If ultimately you want them to become and have the best possible life, which I can't see any parent not wanting that for their children, this is a simple hack that I see a lot of parents doing wrong. And then that lady from the daycare said to me, she's like, I never thought of it like that. The second thing I want to talk about is health. These days, with all the processed foods and the poor exercise ethics of humans, 90% of men have a gut and man boobs. What kind of example do we have around us? People are getting diabetes early, cholesterol problems as teenagers. Our supermarkets are full of trash. We rarely go and get health checkups done. And then people get diagnosed with stuff when it's too late and they have to go on all these medications. So it's really important that you, as the parent, set a good example of what a good health routine looks like, because your children are copying your every move. And I know that deep down inside, you want to be healthier than what you're being right now. Whether it's moving more, eating less crap, cutting some carbs out, getting your steps up, doing some push-ups, doing some yoga. I also can improve, definitely, on what I'm doing. But as long as we're on an upward trajectory of positive progress, then you will feel good about yourself, you will feel alive, and you're setting a good example for your children, who then one day will set a good example for their children and their children's children. Hopefully, if they do the right thing moving forward. It's actually proven that you cannot genetically pass on a disease or sickness or illness to the next generation. It's actually a culture or habitual or habit thing that your children will get, and then it turns on the gene within your body. So what we do ourselves as parents is way more important than you think. You can take the lazy option as a parent, but it is going to be more painful in the long run to have to deal with health issues, going to doctors, paying for medication, waiting for line at chemists, paying money at chemists, having low energy. Do you think if you want to have a lot of money and be smart and wealthy and have a nice house and have a good lifestyle, that being unhealthy is going to help contribute to that? No. There's two versions of you. There's the piece of shit version of you that's like a fat blob that doesn't do anything to even try and be healthy. And if that is you, you know yourself. Hopefully this is a wake-up call for you. And then there's the best version of you that exists, which is a lean, chiseled, whatever you picture in your head. I can't tell you what that is. I think there's a little bit of too much stigma around, oh, you need to have a six pack and be ripped and all that. But you can be very healthy. You know what healthy is in your head. Your intuition tells you. And everything is habits, guys. Once you get into a bad habit, it's so hard to get out of it unless you have the right mindset and you're ready to change. So if this video is the one for you that you're ready to change and become healthy, then please start by just walking. Go for a walk. Take the kids for a walk. Push them in the pram. Let them see you practicing those things, because they're just little copycats. If you had more energy too, you perform better, your mood's better, people like you better, people trust you more. If they can tell that you look after yourself, people instantly have a different energy with you. But if you're someone who doesn't look after yourself, how can you be trusted also to look after those around you? It's actually said that people look after their pets and their children better than they look after themselves. But what the famous Dr. Jordan Peterson talks about, who's an amazing psychologist, if you haven't heard of him before, he says, treat yourself like you are someone you are looking after. So think about you're sitting at home right now on the couch and another clone version of you walks in the door and that person is you, and you got to look after you. What kind of lecture are you going to give yourself that you need to change first? Is it, yeah, I really need to get that routine started. Yeah, I really should be talking to my kids better. And you guys know deep down in your head, it's already there because you are the judge of yourself. The right and wrong is within you. It's just like, are you going to listen to it? It's hard to do that. It's hard to do the right thing. But guess what? It's also just as hard, if not worse, to do the wrong thing. And then later on, you're like a ticking time bomb that something's going to happen. Just saying. And another thing I want to talk about is your work ethic. What kind of example are you setting for your children with your work ethic? There's a lot of people in this day and age that work really hard on what they do. Work hard, work long hours. But let me ask you this. Are you programming and training your children and becoming an example for your children of someone who also works smarter? There's better processes than what you're doing right now. There's more efficient processes than what you're doing right now. There's a better job you could get right now. There's a better method of getting sales that you could do right now. There's a side business you could start right now that you've thought about already, but you haven't pulled the trigger. Or maybe you're already doing it and you need to just amp it up more and make it your full-time job. What skills has God, the universe, given you to use that you're not using? Teach your children to tap into that energy. Show them and be an example. There has been generations and generations before you that have gone through wars, depressions, famines, struggle to get food, to be here today so you can be here. So the least you can do is give it your best shot while you're alive, because you got forever to sleep when you pass away, and be an example to those around you. And at the same time, it's not just your children you're helping. You're also influencing everyone around you. Do you think right now, if you're in perfect health, the ultimate version of you that you know you need to be, do you think that would even in the slightest motivate people around you, such as your friends, your brothers and your sisters? As long as you weren't showing off about it, be like, oh yeah, I've got a six-pack now. But you're just being healthy. You're like, yeah, I'm being healthy. I said it to my brother the other day, who's been trying to get a six-pack. I said, if you get a six-pack, don't you think that's going to be like motivating my dad and my other brothers to be like, hey, yeah, we can do that too? And his answer was 100%. And it's true. Not that getting a six-pack is the end goal. We all have it ingrained in us to be the best version of ourselves. Some of us are very happy and comfortable where we are. And if that's you, then this video is not for you. And I congratulate you. You've passed the finish line. Enjoy the rest of your life. But if you're someone who knows that what I'm saying is like hitting a trigger, then this is your sign to do something about it. Because there is generations and generations of the future counting on your little bit of input for this amount of time that you exist. So quick recap, be careful what you say to your children. Reinforce the positive things they do. Create a healthy routine that you know is the ultimate routine that you should be doing. And you don't have to push yourself too hard at the start. You don't have to go and get a personal trainer and run yourself into the ground and be sore for 2 weeks. Start off with something small by just, raising your arms over the head, 10 times a day. Going down and doing 10 push-ups, or start today doing 1 push-up, tomorrow you do 2, then you do 3, then you do 4, and you keep going. By the end of the year, you're doing 326 push-ups a day with ease. Anyway, guys, that is all for this video. I hope I have helped in some kind of way. Please like and subscribe and comment. And if you want to work with me in any way, email me at george@ggmedia.com.au. I'm happy to help you in any way possible I can. And I'll see you in the next video.